Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the second to last hangout for the Adventures.
Oh, why'd you have to put it like that?
Ow! No! Now I feel bad.
Starting this off on a low note.
Yeah,
It can only go up from here, right?
I hope so. Also, now I've seen Trevor's tweet, and so now you all have to deal with me hanging out and also retweeting. Woo! My social media acumen is just amazing.
It's happening live.
yes.
All live.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a hangout. It's the second to last one.
I don't want it to be the second to last one, though. I'm sad.
Yeah, I'll be sad. Although my plan has always been to retire Pilkins at the end of this, so like Pilkins would love to, rest and.
There might be some plans for Pilkins.
Ooh,
Okay.
Violet.
I don't know what the plans for Pilkins are, but here's my now new plan to throw at you is we'll do an Adventurer's Guide to the Multiverse 2, and then Yang Yang comes back, but as a completely different character. And now this turns into like these
Better yet.
bespoke
Alternate universe Pilkins.
we've picked up a different Pilkins.
It's like if Pilkins was Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just super buff barbarian Pilkins.
Wow, I just noticed our volume was going crazy, and now
Well,
Now we're
you're
good.
welcome, everyone. This is me at my normal volume.
This is me at whatever volume I'm at. But no, I like that idea of like, okay, here's this 6-episode run. It's chapter 1 of Adventure's Guide to the Multiverse. Pilkins retires. And then
Yep.
chapter 2 is Yang Yang comes back with a completely different character who that's like our meta goal is we keep bringing in Yang Yang's new character to find them a place in the multiverse. That's like the low-key second goal.
I did realize
That's
very
fun.
early onto the show that I did kind of screw us for like a sequel name because I just put random hitchhiker guide names throughout all of this. Like the first one was the hotel at the edge of the multiverse,
Yeah.
and then it was the marriage, the multiverse, and everything, and then we did Adventurer's Guide to the Multiverse, which is the closest to Hitchhiker's Guide. And I'm like, well, I don't think I got anything for so long, and thanks for all the fish. I don't know how I can D&Dify that one.
But here's the thing. That's why you call it chapter. You call it campaign 1, or you call it, series 1, or chapter 1.
By the way, chat, this is not us promising we're gonna do this.
I mean, this is me promising that Trevor's going to do this. Yes.
I mean, it could be so long, and thanks for all the cookies.
Oh.
Well, now you got to do it. It's a perfect name. Now you got to do it.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not writing it down, but I'm opening a fresh doc.
And save.
I may have been typing a few things here and there. There we go.
Well, I was typing things too. I was just doing, social media stuff. So there we go. I took that opportunity to type while you were typing. Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, yeah, there it is. Well, what do y'all want to talk about?
How we're gonna do a whole other season of Adventures Guide to the I'm on this. I'm on. I just came from a session 0 for a different show, and so if we want to go forward with a session 0 for like campaign for chapter 2 of this, on the assumption that we all survive, of course, or that the multiverse survives. Actually, it doesn't matter if we survive as long as the multiverse survives. Then we survive.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I kind of did write myself into a corner on that in my home game because I kind of already had Mrs. Fox show up post this show, and so then I got to figure out what happens then. Because here's the thing, I'm so stubborn in this, where it's just like, no, this stuff for when I'm running a game, it is all in canon for me, and so like.
Yeah.
When like stuff from my home game has obviously influenced stuff in this game, stuff from y'all's game, I'm not going to tell you what, is going to influence and show up in my home game, and then maybe in another stream. Like I have to do this on a weird level for myself.
I don't think it's weird at all. I have had way too much fun doing this with Orkira, with all of the different places she's been. I've even managed to figure out how dream sequences have been canon.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
You know,
so we did a one shot on D4 that was all just basically this is all a dream, and I made it canon.
I mean, I think that's awesome. I feel like it's like an extra layer of like player complexity for you to take like all the different adventures that you've had with all the different DMs and all the different other player party members and like make it all into one timeline for yourself.
Oh yeah. I highly endorse people doing this. Like I really do. Even if like streams aside, I was doing this way before I did streaming. Like it's just something for me that I'm like I feel this story building and I'll do a payoff or something. Like I did something like that in last week's episode that was just for me. Like when y'all carried Wit's body up to the room in Mrs. Fox's house, and I described this elven hut that the room was. I was describing what I had described like 5 years ago when that original character had been made. Because Wit's body is one of my old characters who was an elven wizard, and so when Wit's not in it anymore, like that body, the room reverted to giving it its home.
Yeah.
And so like that, like there was no way anyone would have connected with that at all. It was just like, oh, that's weird. But I'm like, that's for me. I know what that is.
I haven't done this kind of thing before until Orkira, and then not even at first, but when I started guesting on D4, and then we had guests come to Beyond Heroes, that's when I started having fun with oh wait, this can tie together and this over here. And then with Idle Champions and all the crossover stuff, I think it's totally fair when people say, oh, this is an alternate universe version of this character, or this is a future version of this character, whatever it is that makes the player happy to play that character in that space. But I've been having fun with it's all Orkira canon, and every once in a while I have to mess with the timeline a little bit, like when Heroes of the Plains and D4 were going at the same time, except D4 was canonically a year in Orkira's past, and so it was like, okay, the concurrent timelines, here we go.
Yeah, interesting.
And yes, same thing. I find it fun, and then because she's such a weird person, because she's done so much, it continues the joy of like, wait, who do you know? How do you know this person? So
well, the funny thing is, I didn't know that you were doing that when you were on Marriage, Multiverse, and everything. And I had a thing about saying, how the characters were unparalleled, but I was gonna I had it in my notes for Mrs. Fox to say, but Orkira isn't. She's just special. But because I never said that it's pretty much insinuated that Orkira is unparalleled. And now knowing that you do have that one timeline, yeah, she is. She's unparalleled.
And you know what? That's also the fun of playing with a whole bunch of different DMs with the same character is like, conforming is the wrong word. Having fun with your version of timelines. And because I was lucky in where I had experiences with Orkira being thrown essentially into different campaigns very early, I got used to the idea of Orkira being used to just suddenly having not as much power or way more power. So the idea of like, oh, I'm going to show up on this show and she's level 18, and I'm going to show up on this show and she's level 4. Like she's just gotten used to the idea that as she jumps around places, she just has less or more power. So it just helps wipe away that whole, oh, how come I can't do this thing anymore? And so stuff like that has been fun. It's been fun playing the same character with different DMs to see how different DMs do things. Like I've now had 4 different DMs embody the Phoenix, and they've all done it in slightly different ways.
Interesting.
And it's all been amazing. Well, because I mean, yeah, the Phoenix is dead right now, so you haven't had to deal with this. But when the Phoenix is alive, Orkira's got basically a friend relationship, at least on her side. The Phoenix is her friend. She also prays to it, but the Phoenix is her friend, so she doesn't revere it the same way that a lot of clerics with their gods do. She's just like, yeah, this is my friend who happens to also be a god. But that's how she talks to her god. So it's always interesting to have like what the reactions are from DMs when they're suddenly thrown into the, all right, play my god, go for it. 'Cause there's really no wrong answer here. Yeah. So, and it's been totally different. It's been fun seeing how specific spells that are some of her mainstays are handled differently by different DMs. It's just, it's a blast. Like already Trevor twice has done completely different things with some stuff that's been amazing. So yeah.
Good.
I kind of just enjoy imagining that you have like a whole Orkira-verse like somewhere out there. It's like a Wikipedia that's tracked and like correlated and smoothed out all the rough edges between like the different appearances and timelines. And people could have their own like little theories about like what's going on here and there.
I don't know. I don't think there's a wiki, but I will say every time she shows up on a new show and it's part of her new timeline, the last version of her that I played, I copy it in D&D Beyond, and then that's the version that I continue with.
Oh,
so for example, changes that happen in this show right now are going to affect future versions of her.
That's wild.
Like I know eventually she's going to show back up on D4 because we have to kill Manchun. Because if you try, listen to me, we're going to kill Manchun and Orkira is going to be there for it. When that happens, it'll be after whatever happens here. She'll have that shield.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Because I'll take this character and I'll just, after the show is over, copy her for whatever the next. So I essentially have like 12 different versions of her, but they're all canonical and they're all in chronological order. But they also, some of them are like level 4, level 5, level 6, level 2, level 12, level 8, level 5, level 6, level 7, level 8, level 9, level 12, level 20, level 14. Like they.
So I wonder if like anybody tracks how many different streams or like campaigns or adventures, whatever stories that a specific character actually is on. And I wondered like if Orkira is actually one of the characters that's been on like the most unique separate adventures across different streams.
I would,
because I've seen Orkira like all over the place.
That's actually a really good point.
I would be remiss in claiming that title. I shouldn't, but I would put Orkira up there as because I've been playing her long enough and because I've been lucky enough to do stuff like this. Yeah.
Because like even Evelyn and Strix, like they have been on 3 that I can think of, because Dice Gamer Action and then Penny Arcade and then
Acquisitions Incorporated and then the C Team. So yeah.
Were they on the C Team?
Well, they did that crossover.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant, like that crossover one, but then also Isle Champions Presents.
Oh, so there you go. So that's 4.
Yeah, and so like that's the one that I would think would be the most. But you have been on more than that, I think.
Okay, so if we count everything that happened on D&D Beyond as one show, even though it was called 3 different things, so we'll call that one show. Then she's been on D4. The Demiplane show of Heroes of the Plains. She's been on she's been on 2 different Idle Champions Presents, but one of them was a one shot and one of them was Court of the Raven Queen. We can count that as one appearance.
Yeah. Sure.
So that's that. Those are the major, and then this.
Yeah.
So that's 6. And that doesn't even get into there's a couple of one shots that are canon that are out there. There's a level 21 shot that B-Dave ran. That's the only thing that's still technically in her future. But yeah, if you just count series, 6.
That's
a lot.
Pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I've been incredibly lucky. Not gonna lie.
See, the thing that I'm getting excited for with my home game, and I mean like even future stream things, like recently in my home game, one of my players became a god. And
okay,
like they're not a full god yet. They're like essentially at demigod level.
Yeah.
But they were given a divine spark, like the remnants of one. And I absolutely loved it because he got it. They were level 18 and he got the spark, and I told him to level up to level 20. He's also the first level 20 player I've ever had that like went from beginning to that.
Ooh, nice.
But it was great because the party like started asking him like, do you get like a god name now? Like, are you hearing a bunch of like worshipers in your head? Because like he did take over for a god, and so like there were all these questions going about. And I told Lauren about this one, but one of my friends one of them had a ring of 3 wishes, and he had 1 wish left, and he used the last one to give him another domain. So he had the domain of travel, and now he also has the nature domain.
Oh
wow. But then they because that character was a druid, he was like, oh, you know what? Screw it. You're my god now. And so like that when you're talking about Orkira being friends with the Phoenix, I'm like, this dude is literally friends with his god.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I mean, think about we probably all have friends who are, you know, high-powered executive somewhere, or have tons of money, or have not gods, but like people who have
influence,
a significant amount of influence or money or power in something. But there are friends. We don't think about them as like, oh yeah, this is like the president of the United States has friends who were friends with him before he was the president of the United States. So I that's kind of how I envision it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I just leave it up to the DMs for how the Phoenix feels about things. But I love that like, one of your friends would turn to the other and be like, you're my god now.
Well, the thing is, though, is that after this campaign, I will have him I will go to him and be like, what is your deity name? Like, if it's Daggery, fine. If it's not. But when I have session 0s from now on, that will be one of the options for a deity.
That's
so cool.
Yeah. And so like, if we ever get to the point where like divine intervention gets done, I gotta text Nick and be like, all right, what do you do?
I was about to say, are you gonna text him on a regular basis like, so one of your worshipers?
Well, like I've almost had to do that before, because again, all of my games are in the same canon. I had one game, a Curse of Strahd one, where one of the players betrayed the party, and long story short, his soul got put into he got ice powers, and his soul got put into a gold ring, and that is my canonical version of the Ring of Winter being created. And then that ring ended up in another campaign, and one of my players was literally about to put it on. And when with the Ring of Winter, you have to make a charisma saving throw or it overtakes you. So I'm taking out my phone and getting ready to text that player. Like, you wake up in this situation, what do you do?
Good morning. Hi, you're back.
Do you kill everyone? Okay, well, there we go.
All right, so Yang, now that you've listened to all this, do you still want to retire Pilkins after the last episode, or would you like Pilkins
to retire Pilkins? I think I could always have him unretire, or I think he could be like dragged out again, and maybe he's just constantly retiring and being dragged out, into misadventures. Like, I could definitely see that sort of life for him.
Misadventures.
Oh yeah. I like the idea of Pilkins becoming a reoccurring NPC in our lives, of like, he gets to retire, working at the library, and then every once in a while we're like, oh, we know a guy at this library. Hold on a second. Sending Pilkins. Help. Yes, we're on an adventure again.
So Pilkins becomes fantasy Google.
I mean, that's up to Pilkins. How much does Pilkins really want to run around the Library of Marcathina, or is it just like, I'll help you with one thing?
God, Laura, this is why I love our friendship. You remembered the thing I created. You wouldn't even been able to ballpark that place's name. Not even.
That's an amazing feeling, actually. When you play with somebody, you make something up, and they remember it.
Yeah, no, that genuinely is like, that's great.
And then they remember it better than you do, which is always like, I've been the DM in that situation of where like, what did I do?
Ooh,
okay.
That actually happened in a home game where I had something going, and it involved Mrs. Fox, and one of my players was like, oh, well, she has this person's soul. And I was like, oh shit, they do. Oh. And then I was like, okay, I have to panic and redo all this. Okay.
Yeah. I'll say I was never go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Because I think it's going to be a bigger topic that will.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, I'm
So go
excited.
ahead first. Yeah.
I'll just say I was never a very good note taker as a player. That is something that Orkira has taught me, because Orkira is conscientious enough to remember a lot of that stuff. Also, that's the only way I can keep track of what's been going on and in her life and follow her thread is I have to keep notes at least on the big things so that I can follow along. And it's been helpful now on Children of Erte because I will never be the note taker that Jen Kretschmer is. Bless Jen Kretschmer and her note taking. She is amazing. But like now that I've gotten used to how I need to take notes for a character, I feel a lot more confident with Neb with keeping up with things because she's the same way. She's absorbing all this information, and I want her to be able to recall the information that she's absorbed, which means I got to do a lot of strolling. But hey, I'll have it somewhere. Okay, bigger topic. I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing I was going to bring up, and it's like related. Speaking of characters that are living in like multiple adventures across like different like quote unquote timelines, the thing that you had Orkira do with the cursed sword for Uthal, like, did Kyle have any idea? And like, isn't Kyle like playing in like multiple games of yours, Trevor?
So yeah, Uthal is from my home game. He loves Uthal, and I give him the option when we do stuff like this. I'm like, if you want to keep playing Uthal, you can keep playing Uthal. And yeah, but what you mean, like when she tried to do remove curse?
Well, I mean, didn't the sword break at the end of last episode?
Oh
yeah, although that was.
Well, yeah, that was from stabbing an avatar to death.
Yeah. But like that whole path of pursuing ways to, solve the sword and the whole lore behind it and all that.
That was the wild thing is I had that planned, and you all just started talking about that, and I was like, all right. I mean, if you want to do my foreshadowing for me, you all have for it.
Yeah, the only thing I talked to St. James about it was two check-ins basically of like, hey, are you okay if we chat about your sword, or if Orkira tries to do something, and then I'll make it so that she's not upset about it because, I just want this to be a fun encounter. Mm-hmm. And then also, are you okay if I mess around with things? And so, yeah, that it was just basically checking in to make sure he was like, yeah, sure, go for it. Do whatever you want. But after that, it was just us role playing and asking questions and, and I did not think I was as much surprised as anybody when the sword shattered. Although when death was summoned, I was that's the moment where I was like, oh my, what happens? What happens next? But when Orkira brought it up, it was basically just a character beat at that point. I did not think Adventures of the Multiverse was going to deal with his sword. Well,
I mean, we'll see. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. We don't know.
I mean, maybe it does. But I wasn't expecting us to, like when she said this is something for us to work on after we saved the multiverse. That was also Lauren saying, hey, I wanted us to have this moment because I thought it'd be fun and it'll help Orkira not be like, Isaac. But like it was also me saying that's okay, we don't have to deal with this right now because like there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah. So like, is St. James playing in your home campaign like right now at the same time?
No.
I thought he was.
No, because St. James moved to a different time zone. We start playing at 7, which would be 10 for him. Mm-hmm. And so he backed out from the campaign. He's like, it's totally fine. No worries. It's just the times where he does get to play Uthal, like I'm more than happy to let him do that.
Okay, because I thought he was playing Uthal on stream as well as in a home game at the same time as sort of like
I thought so too.
I actually I mean, I would have come up with some wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff that it would have happened, but that's the other thing with me is like I'm okay with doing kind of whatever because it's like I run my games like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like I'm like I will come up with dilithium crystals to explain why you are doing something.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's there are some things that are fun to drill down into the weeds about and think about specifics and the reality of the situation. And then there's stuff like this and where it's like, if it's going to make the game happen easier, then that's fine. And for whatever reason, the big things, the timelines, the what universe are you in, the things that you would think would be the biggest deal are the easiest things to hand wave away. The harder things are usually the minute things. They're the stuff, they're either the stuff like, oh crap, she's come across a soul-stealing sword. How do I do this in a way and where it'll satisfy her as a character, but also not take over the campaign?
Oh, or Kira's permanently a Muppet now.
Yeah. Well, I had no control over that. But it's also stuff like, she is so traumatized by having her body get changed so often. Like, how do I reference that without it turning into the whole big thing? So, she just grumbles. She can't sit in chairs regularly. So we walk into a boardroom and I'm like, Orkira looks for a stool.
Yeah. I hate to cut this off, because, we'll get so many more chances to do this in the future. But right now it is 6:27 and I have to run a quick ad. And I just want to remind everybody, we are doing a dice set giveaway this week as well. Use exclamation mark
Congrats,
ticket.
Rhonda.
Congrats. Exclamation mark ticket into the chat for your chance to win, like always. And then we will see you live later. But this episode's coming at you. It's pre-recorded. So
if you're wondering why you're seeing sun now, but you're not going to see sun later, that's why.
Oh, wait, no. It was still sunny when we recorded.
But it wasn't like this. Trust me. Thank you.
All right, until next time. Bye.